Hey everybody, welcome back to the Mystics of Texas. Today we are out in the gazebo on the island. We thought it was such a beautiful day, we should not squander it. So we are here today with Gil and I am Kevin Schmidt. We're going to be discussing something. How does someone begin to rid themselves of bad or harmful habits? How do you do that? It is something that we all work on. We all see bad things that we do or bad thoughts primarily, and they can end up causing us to radiate those same bad vibes onto the people around us, and we inadvertently get that then reflected back on ourselves and creates this spiral. And Gil, being so insightful that he is, I'm seeking his advice today, and thank y'all for joining us on this ride. Gil, how are you today?
I'm wonderful, and thank you for having me, Kevin. It's an honor.
What would you say to someone just beginning a spiritual journey and starting to discover um, themselves and realizing that they do have bad thoughts about people around them, or they just have some things that they're trying to cope with in their mind, and they're trying to figure out how to keep your mind focused on positive thoughts and things? How would you help me, Gil?
The way I help myself. I myself am dealing with it. We all do. It's a very important aspect of the work. It's a very important aspect of the process. Once an individual is intent on clarifying, clearing that, and create a new cycle, create a new feedback loop. There is a feedback loop. And when we understand that feedback loop in the program of the ego mind, we understand that there is a feed, there is an energetic fueling to that loop, which is originating again in the illusion of separation, which humanity is believing in every aspect of life. Whether we care to admit it or not, whether we understand it or not, we're all under that magic spell of that program that served us very well in the past, and therefore we co-created it. And here I'm speaking very specifically in a way that takes responsibility for that. There's no one to blame, or there's a lot to understand and to study and to learn it. But that feedback loop is a mental, emotional, and biochemical feedback loop of the program of the ego-mind projections. It is a holographic projected movie that has a storyline. And the storyline, again, is the battle between bad and good, between good and evil. And those thoughts, those thought processes that all of us are dealing with and really, really would like to clear that, there is a shift that is occurring and that we can take, and that is one of the most important shifts that we can take, is to learn how to detach and disengage, first of all, from the mental process, through beginning to re-anchor in our heart. And I'm saying it over and over again, and I'm saying it in different ways and in different angles, coming to that same point, because it is easier said than done. And when someone hears, oh yeah, just move to the heart. Oh, cool, yeah. Focus on the heart. Well, this is truly a gradual process, because the center of gravity of human consciousness is the ego mind. This is where those thoughts are being produced, and those are producing heavy emotions in return in that loop. Those emotions are derivative of fear, because they come from separation. And heart and mind, separation always leads to deception, because it is based in an illusion. Okay, let us remember that. So, first of all, there is a question, where are those thoughts coming from? Because many are beginning to realize that actually those thoughts are not really our thoughts. In a way, it's just flashing in our mind constantly, and we get to kind of be the recipients of those thoughts. That's a very important perspective to start to see, that we're all bombarded by this feed, this energetic feed. And this is always jumping and swinging between good and bad, right and wrong, good and evil. And how do we dissolve those negative dark ripples that we all are dealing with? Is to first and foremost begin to visit the heart every day on a regular basis. Make your heart the point of your new anchor. Throw an anchor in whatever way suitable for you, and I can suggest techniques, I can suggest exercises and tools to do that. This is one of the main codes of conduct in the work that I am doing with people, is how to shift the center of gravity from the mind, from the head, to the heart. And we have fields of vibrational frequencies that are surrounding us at all times. We are not aware of those fields because we are focused on the dark ripples of the program. We're programmed. This program creates clouds and shadows and echoes that are surrounding us like a cocoon. And it is a genetic density cocoon. And that cocoon of density is obscuring and eclipsing the natural emanation of our inner light, the light that comes through our soul and through our deeper heart and higher mind and light body. And therefore, we get to focus and receive much more of the program than of the alternative, natural and organic emanations of our inner and higher self. So my suggestion will be, first and foremost, visit your heart every day and practice deep and authentic feelings. And what are those feelings? Those feelings are feelings that are derivative of the core vibrational frequencies of divine love. And as they enter into the human domain, as they enter into time and space, which is where a human lives, they become fields of vibrational frequency. They become compassion. They become forgiveness. They become understanding. They become courage. They become patience. They become tenderness and gentleness. They become appreciation and gratitude. They become those attitudes that are beginning to throw and transmit the medicine into those dark ripples and negative thoughts. And when you breathe very deeply into your heart and focus on the inner light in whatever way you can imagine it, and imagination is key ingredient here. So we have feeling, we have imagination, we have a contemplation. And when we make that magnet of the heart strong enough, then begin to transmit this to your head. And in that, you're beginning to wash away those negative, what we call, dark ripples, those thought processes that are constantly, automatically bombarding our mind, and therefore creates a perception that is always swinging between good and bad, right and wrong. And we try to hold the positive, but even if we try to hold the positive, we can hold it for a while, but we will swing unless we come to a point which transcends duality within ourselves. And that can only occur in the deeper heart.
That was a lot to digest, Gil. That was, the dark ripples that do manifest themselves from our thoughts and go into the heart space of the people around you is obvious. I mean, you can see it with just two friends getting in an argument. One is not upset, one is upset, and then all of a sudden both of them become upset because one was upset. And it's a little bit harder if one stays calm to calm the other one down because it's a lot of energy. We've all experienced that many times. One thing that I've practiced over a number of years is the idea and the thought of I am viewing myself from outside of this space. I'm right over here and I'm watching the situation. And I'm looking at myself to say, okay, are you acting in an appropriate manner to foster a healthier relationship. And sometimes, you know, because I am a fallible man, I will sometimes I'll put down that angle and just let it fly. But more often than not, when you practice that, it is very helpful, at least for me, to have this third eye looking at any situation, whatever it is, and say, okay, that's somebody I wouldn't mind hanging around. You know, I can learn something or have a good time, you know, being in that my presence. I think that is also a helpful tool, and I'm very thankful that you are also working on a whole series of tools that are going to be available to our audience, which is fantastic. I'm so excited to start participating myself.
So be it. This is what I'm here for. And thank you for sharing that, Kevin. This is a very powerful tool. This is a very important exercise, what you just suggested that you're practicing. It's definitely one of those power tools to be able to begin to detach and disengage from that program and begin to look at yourself from the outside of your body and really look right into yourself as you behave. And behavior really is where it comes down to, because we can talk about it and we can philosophize about it, we can mentalize it in all kinds of concepts, which is important, but it's not enough. To bring it to our behavior, that's when we bring our practice into our day-to-day life. And when you practice an exercise like you just described, this is when we really become co-creators with our beloved source. And here it's coming to a whole new level, because you're practicing in real time, in life circumstances, in the situation, in the moment, when you're watching yourself. If you can develop that capacity, it's a fantastic exercise. I really thank you for mentioning that. It's definitely something I do too and use.
I found it so useful, and sometimes I don't employ it when I should, and thankfully I have, you know, my brother and Jill and other people close to me that was, you know, they might make a comment, are you down today, or is something wrong with you today? And if nothing's wrong, I'm just thinking, I don't know, what you know, I'm a little confused. Maybe I'm thoughtful that day, or, you know, I'm busy thinking about work or whatever's going on in life. And I attempt in many cases, when that's brought to my attention, to instantly go, okay, what is my behavior? Am I not showing or communicating with, you know, my brother, who I talk to all the time, and or Jill, you know, if I'm doing the things I do for work, and Jill may say on the rare occasion, hey, are you all right? You seem a little down. I'm like, oh. And I, you know, think, no, I don't feel down, but okay, I definitely appreciate you bringing that to my attention, because now I need to snap out of myself and look to see what am I doing as far as my actions to make the other person around me, you know, feel that, especially whenever you don't have anything wrong, or if you do have something wrong, that's even the more important thing, to say, oh, well, I do love this person, so I don't want that energy to feed off onto them. So let me play with myself for a little while. Let me see if I can't puppeteer my own self in order to, you know, make that smile come, because, you know, there are many people inside of me that are wanting to smile, and just because there's a few in there that want to turn that frown upside down, I should not listen to them. And I think that is something that we could definitely use more of. It's something that I would like to practice more, and that just comes with time. You know, you don't always just instantly go, oh, all right, let me examine that. But more often than not, the more you do it, the more it just pops up.
Yes, yes, beautiful. That is extremely important. We also work like that within our family unit with my beloved wife, Violet, and my son, Duke. We have that agreement, and this agreement is very open, very clear, and we always lay it on the table. as we allow each other as individuals to go through our process. And sometimes we don't even speak a word for days, just walking around in the same house. Um, but when someone, and I just had it just recently, 2 days ago, I was allowing one of my dark children that is still running a tantrum from my individuated community to actually spill over quite strong. And you know, because I am so adept to that, and for me, I allow it just to look at it and then do the work and begin to heal that child, begin to educate that child with the new information until it comes home. Because it was growing in the dark, and it is a traumatic. Usually, that's what it is, and we must understand that. But it was Ayala that called me, and she called me really strongly, and it was a strong calling. She said, "Dude, okay, I understand that you're processing here, but hey, you know, contain yourself a little bit, because I can be very intense when I go for something, and my emanation is very strong." And we have to be responsible in that way to really be on top of that. And as she called me, and that's our agreement, it's all been beautiful. As she called me, I immediately caught myself. I took it into my inner council immediately and set down that entity right there. That child said, "Come on, okay, we gotta start shifting here. Okay, we can't just spit it on other people. This is very strong. We need to find a way to keep it within our inner temple, so that once it's clear, now we don't have to emanate it and impose it on other people, because it's a very strong energy sometimes."
Sure.
And it comes sometimes very strong, and people around us don't need to absorb that. It's one of the responsibilities we must take as we go through this process. But I wanted to add something very important here, because there is a tendency also, because we don't want to impose it on our beloved. Sometimes it goes into denial, because our ego will be very happy to bury it again and say, "Okay, let's just keep it, because we don't want to hurt anyone, or we don't want to be rude, or we don't want to, you know, come forth so strong and with these dark emotions." Very, very carefully, be careful with that. Watch yourself, not just on that aspect, but on the aspect of you, on that very, very stealthy child that wants to always take and say, yeah, let's tone it down, and then eventually at some point it goes into denial. We don't want that to happen either. We want to keep addressing everything, put everything on the table, but make it in a way that it doesn't impose itself on anyone else. We become harmless, and that's key. We become harmless. We become responsible family members that no matter what ticks us off, that's very strong, that we will otherwise have an instinctive reaction to, that this reaction could come very violently sometimes. We must be really careful with that, but make sure we're not taking it into denial again, because otherwise it will build up, and at some point it will explode in some way that is very unpleasant.
Yeah, it's unpleasant for everybody. And then we feel guilty about it. And we're like, I would have never, in my reasonable mind, if I wouldn't have let that little slice of my personality just manifest itself in such a rude way. In retrospect, when you do something that, you're what I refer to as my inner asshole, whenever that comes out, and later you go and reflect on it, you're like, man, I just cannot believe I would do or say something that would hurt the feelings of somebody else like that. It's quite annoying to all the other members at your personal round table, because you're like, man, that was really dumb. I can't believe I let this other guy talk over the other people. Yeah, that's a delicate balance, and it's a lifetime's work. You just continue to practice and practice and practice and practice.
Yes.
I don't know if we ever fully, hopefully, before I die, hopefully decades before I die, I'm able to conquer that. But it's just an ongoing practice.
It is, and it's a long path. Kevin, and I have that desire too. It's natural to want to be able to accomplish all of that in one lifetime, but relatively to the time it took us to build that program and to fragment to such a degree of shatteredness and limitation, it's important that we develop that patience and understand that it will take what it will take, and we cannot limit it in time. In fact, we want to unlimit time with that process.
So you saying I can't meditate and be fully enlightened tomorrow morning? Because that's what I'm hoping for, Gil. That's what I'm shooting for, buddy.
That's exactly what our ego personality would like. It would like to take shortcuts. It would like to, because it likes to take shortcuts and get to the point. Let's achieve it already.
Right.
It doesn't want to go through the learning on the way, through the pearls and beautiful diamonds of wisdom that we collect on the way, moment to moment as we go through the process and learning. It's a new learning adventure.
Yeah, it seems like every day there's something new to learn, and some new approach to being around all the people that you love, especially the ones that you love the most. Because you want everything the best that you can to continue to be loving and understanding. Like my brother Trey this morning was what I instantly thought was complaining like a little baby because he had a physical ailment, and so I bust his chops a little bit like brothers do, and after I busted his chops, I probably busted his chops a little too hard. I was like, well, I probably hurt my poor little baby brother's feelings, and that's how I'm doing. I was like, you better come over and squeeze your little cute cheeks, and then messing with him. And I could tell he really didn't like it because he felt like he was not in a physical position to come, which when I look back on it, which happened, an hour and a half ago, that I would say, what I exactly said was something like, oh, big strong Trey can't walk out to the gazebo. And I could tell that affected him, and that I shouldn't have been so rough on him. The other softer Kevin's on the inside should have said, "Hey, I understand. No worries. I'll talk to you. See you later."
Yeah.
But I let the big brother asshole part come out and gave him a hard time.
Yeah. Well, I send Trey my heart transmissions, of course. It's important. This is a time where we are in a profound process of healing and restoration. So every individual is processing a lot, and we must allow that space and allow the time for every individual to go through that process. It's tremendous. It's intense and it's immense, and it's a very delicate process, because we get to meet with some major wounds in our psyche and major traumas that we hold for many, many lifetimes. And we get to clear those shadows that follow us from the past. At some point, the past falls behind us and we leave no footprints. And that's the beautiful part of it, is we come to the spiral from the circle that repeats itself. We break through that circle and we move into the spiral, into the vortex. And in that, there is a constant expansion.
Yeah, that was beautifully said. Well, Gil, thank you for that. And I think it's important for all of us to realize that and take account of ourselves and how to do these things and these practices. And so thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Everybody, y'all can find us on, of course, the mysticsofTexas.com, Rumble, BitChute, YouTube, and Odyssey. So thanks for joining us, and join us again for all of our videos. Go check them out. Thanks.